my favorite thing of the week. Sit down and talk about all the fun stuff going on here at Trelevate, and
Come on.
getting time with you is just, I love it. So thanks
It's
for
a joy.
having me.
Hey, for everybody listening, if you guys don't remember, my name is Bo,
I'm Ryan.
and we are representing Trelevate, the amazing business organization changing the business workplace for the better, for the kingdom, but also
Amen.
in the workplace.
Let's
So,
do something that matters.
Ryan, thank you for not only being the founder and president of such a great company, but taking some time here today to say, let's pass on some great stuff. And you just recently got to share with the company an amazing revelation and market research that you've done on AI and how it's changing what we're doing and where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, listen, everybody's talking about it. Everybody's Googling or Chat GPTing or like picking something up, and they're like, "Wow, I never knew how easy it was to get that information.
Right.
I never knew how quickly I could solve a problem that I used to spend a lot of time trying to figure out." So, I mean, it's at the top of everyone's mind. And, the reality behind it is while it's going to provide so much great information quickly, it's also going to change the workplace. And it's going to impact every one of us. And if we're not aware of how it's going to change, I think it's going to displace a lot of people. And research says that's inevitable right now.
Right, right. Okay, so tell me about that. You've been doing a lot of research,
Yeah.
AI and what it does. What did you find? What were your findings?
Listen, AI is a powerful tool. Okay. It's a powerful tool. And what they're saying right now is it is expected to wipe out somewhere between 30 to 60% of all jobs in the next 5 years.
Wow.
Over the next 5 years, they say right now, it's a McKinsey report, okay? It says that by 2030, 30% of all jobs, okay, will be replaced by AI, and 60% will be altered in one way or another. So that translates, if you're doing some simple math, that's 10 to 20% of the workforce. Everything's going to change.
Now, was that specifically the U.S. and specifically maybe blue or white collar jobs?
Well, listen, there's a beauty of like the grit, like the people that go out and actually physically have to do something, turn a wrench, fix a light bulb. I'm talking about like contractors, people that are out doing work in the field. I mean, even some of those jobs are going away. I mean, my dad was a steel worker, and what it used to take 10 guys to cut steel and fabricate stuff for either buildings or ductwork that go, up into air conditioning systems, that would take guys days to lay that out. And I'll never forget when my dad came home and he's like, they've got this new piece of technology. It was called a lathe, and that thing he could program in it and literally would cut all of the pieces out. So it displaced all those jobs. And that was 30 some years ago. So now, how with AI, these jobs that are considered somewhat white collar now, these are jobs where people are sitting at a desk, at a computer, and they're doing things that are somewhat repetitive. I mean, these are the jobs that are just going to be removed like crazy in the years ahead. And they're saying right now in that report that it's not just what's going to be replaced, it's what's going to also be automated or changed. So that is up to 60% of the workforce.
That's over 50%.
Yeah, easily.
That's
easily.
a large portion of the workforce.
Yeah.
So Ryan, how do we stay relevant in the workforce? How do we stay above this? AI is big. It's changing. Obviously, it's impacting. You can't change the fact that we need to turn a wrench, shoot some nails into some wood, build a home.
Right.
But there are things like accounting and digital data analysis.
Yeah.
How do we stay relevant?
Well, it comes down to future-proofing yourself and your skills. And there's research that says there are things that you can get ahead of, right? You are not going to be able to replace or change the fact that AI is coming. It's coming fast, right? I mean, just go down and think about when we're driving home and you're running up Scottsdale Road. And you think about the idea of driving a car, all the complexity, all the things, all the variables that can happen. And you see a car go by you, a Waymo, and there's no one driving it.
There's no one driving it.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like all those variables technology is making up for all those small adjustments on the fly.
Yep.
So if that's replaced, which in if someone would have said 5 years ago, do you even think that's possible? Everybody would have said there's no way that will ever happen. And it's happening. So think about all the jobs where you're sitting and you're inputting information, or you're looking for information, or you're trying to solve a problem, or you're trying to come up with a solution. Those jobs, they say right now in that report, it says something like it's like 10 to 20% of the actual workforce will be disrupted with unemployment. 10 to 20% unemployment could actually happen if these jobs are replaced the way that they say right now are inevitably going to happen, are coming. So if 10 to 20% unemployment happens, right, that's gonna disrupt people to have to go back to doing things that physically, right, a machine can't do. Physically, technology can't replace. And that's where we've done some research in 3 particular areas that are very relevant
Okay.
in terms of hard skills. What hard skills can you top grade?
Yep.
Right? What soft skills can you top grade? And then ultimately, what type of research or tools that you actually can develop or work through.
Sure.
And in doing that, that prepares you to really future-proof your career.
Can you give us what's the definition of a hard skill, soft skill, and then tool?
Okay. So hard skill.
Okay.
Hard skill are things like learning programs like Excel,
Okay.
Asana, Conversive. There's all these different tools right now that you can learn. Data analysis is a hard skill. Like how to use tools like Excel or Tableau or Python. These are all hard skill data analysis programs that you can actually physically learn, and this will tie into AI. Things like online courses and different platforms like
Right.
Coercive,
Right.
LinkedIn, things like Learn Data SI. These are different courses that it will complement AI and how things are changing in the workforce. You have things like digital fluency and different tools like Zoom or Slack, right? AI can write a paragraph, but how you use that then from a presentation inside of Zoom, those are all hard skills that you can pick up, right? And things like project management tools. I think I shared Asana, Coercive. These are different actual project management tools that can take something and then put it into a layout that can either then a team or a group can deploy and work through. So it's taking AI and then it's moving it to an area where how do I use it and how do we become more efficient? Those are actual hard skills that will complement how AI is coming online.
So hard skill is going to be doing the prep work so that you can then use it to be effective, right? Any research done.
Yes.
And then you can then use that to make a cognitive, well-rounded, good estimation decision.
Yeah. Well, and it's learning how these skills, these hard skills that I can develop through further education will complement what's coming through AI.
Right.
I can accelerate that learning curve, or I can accelerate that information and put it into practical use. And those are different top grading or future proofing skills. And that's what you would call improving your hard skills.
Right. Okay, so soft skills. Talk
Yep.
to me about what a soft skill is.
So soft skills are things that are very relevant when it comes to things like communication. I know that, it's understated sometimes. Think about watching kids these days where they literally get stuck on a phone and then you ask them to have a conversation. They come up at you and they're just like lost. They're like, I don't know where I'm going to go with this next conversation.
I feel like I would have to say I was in that boat at one point.
Yeah.
But certainly, praise the Lord, we're doing good now.
Well, so I mention communication because it's something that it is not just verbal, but it's nonverbal. It's the way a phrase can be said, but then the way in which the tone or tenor comes behind it. So the ability to future-proof your communication skills and work on one's ability not just to convey a message, but how it's conveyed and how it's practiced. that's something that is a requirement that, organizations are always looking for. How effective are you at communication? Then you think of things like problem solving skills, how you work from a situation to a solution, and how you can bridge that gap, typically by the quality of the questions that you ask to someone. You think about teamwork and collaboration skills. So, how you and I can identify what are the key elements or the items that we need to address inside of the agenda, and then how do you work together on those topics and ultimately have an ownership level and then a support level. So, you may own, doing a particular project, but my job is to support it. Someone, right, has to own at the end of the day the win or the loss. We either made it happen or we didn't.
Right.
But it's understanding how to collaborate and work through a teamwork setting. Those are soft skills. And then you think of leadership skills, like, okay, someone's got to lead that project. Someone's got to take it to the next level and ultimately get it done. So those are skills those are considered soft skills that companies look for. And they look for it not necessarily in what your job was, but what you've learned inside of that job. So things like self-management and the ability to organize information. So I'll talk to someone about, so tell me about what you do. And usually they'll tell me, well, here's my job. I do X. Okay, well, that may be your job. That may be your responsibility.
Responsibilities, yeah.
But what actually goes into it? How do your communication skills, how do your problem solving skills, how does your teamwork and your collaboration, right? How does your leadership and then your ability to self-manage and organize, those components show one's ability to not just operate at, here's my job title, it's ultimately moved to that next level to say, here's what my potential looks like. And that's really where, when I look at what we do, for large companies in terms of representing them, that's why they hire us.
Right.
They hire us not because of our hard skills. They hire us because of our soft skills.
Right.
It's the communication
emotional
process.
intelligence, that ability
Right.
to relate, the ability to do something that is, you can't put your finger on it, but there's some warmth behind it. There's
Yes.
something of confidence, of trust, of boldness, of capability, that they're competent.
Yeah.
That's communicated in what we do.
Well, and that ability to transfer that either emotion, intelligence, problem solving potential to help someone else make the right decision.
Right.
Those soft skills are priceless, because you can have all the information in the world, but if you don't know what to do with it, it doesn't mean anything, right? So those soft skills, I believe in the future, will become so much more important, because people are relying on quick information, quick answers. They're buried on a phone or buried in a computer, but you still have to bring that in front of an individual or a group to move it to the next level. And that's why soft skill development, and I really, really encourage not just, our team, but in general, is to go deeper inside your role and ask yourself, how are you growing in those interpersonal or those transferable skills? Because that's really that's what soft skills are. They're interpersonal. They're what I know how to do in this situation, what I can do with information, and how I can move that to solve a problem or provide a solution. And if I can transfer that effectively, amazing amounts of things can get done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So those skills are critical to in building really a future-proof career opportunity for someone.
Yeah. So obviously, we're seeing this in the market.
Yeah.
We're seeing these hard skills, soft skills, tools, AI really dispositioning and changing, shaking the foundations of how work is done in blue collar, white collar, 60% of the workforce. That's drastic.
Yeah.
How is Trelevate staying ahead of the curve? What is Trelevate doing to work with this?
Well, I think back to, being aware of, okay, we know the jobs that are top of the list that are going to be replaced. Like I just moved all of our finances to a new financial manager. It's like one of the jobs that are going to get replaced by AI. I'm like, well, wait a second, I don't need them anymore. I look at legal, right? Paralegals, they're saying those jobs won't be around. Real estate, you won't need an agent to facilitate a contract. I mean, I know many of my friends are in real estate. I think about, telemarketers. I mean, you can go down the job, customer service, down all these jobs that used to rely on human beings. If technology is going to replace those, right, or AI is going to replace those,
Right.
being aware as an organization that we are developing skills, and sometimes I believe, Bo, it's making people aware of what those skills are. So if you were to tell me, hey, Ryan, let's not just facilitate your job duty or your job responsibility, start becoming aware. How good are your communication skills? Now, I joke because, right, we have kids, and I can tell kids, hey, hey guys, here's what we got to do, or have you done your chores or your homework, right? But that doesn't mean that they're receiving, right, my request,
Right.
or
In
my
one ear out the
right
other.
in one
Yeah.
ear out the other, right? So how effective are my communication skills, right? And I use that just because half the time you're wondering if your kids are even listening to you, right? It could be a spouse, a boyfriend, girlfriend. But my point is, how effective are you at communicating? That's something that if you invest in improving either steps or process, or how, you know, not just what you say, as I mentioned, but how you're saying things. Does it resonate with people? That's something people can practice. So in our day-to-day, what we do for our clients, how we're working with customers all around the country, how do we work on improving our communication skills? Those are highly valued assets.
Huge.
And then I think of things like problem solving. Think about the things that we're constantly doing here in the office, right? What are the repetitive tasks that we're getting stuck doing, that if we could create tools or rhythms or methods to remove those, how much more time would we have back to do meaningful tasks? I mean, that whole idea of problem solving skills, if you're not developing the ability to address the issue and then be able to set a stage of either initiatives that allow us to move to some type of either solution or outcome, a lot of people, they're never working on the analytical or the critical thinking behind that. They're just
Right.
doing the job.
Right.
Develop the analytical and the critical thinking
Yep.
behind the job, and you can free up so much more time. So as I mentioned, earlier, those soft skills, right? Like, we all need in this world strong leaders. We need strong leaders in the home. We need strong leaders in the church. We need strong leaders in the corporate setting. So if you're a follower just doing the job, and you have a goal of future proofing where it is you want to go in life, you've got to build your leadership skills.
Completely.
And those leadership skills are practiced. It could be practiced. Bo, you look so sharp today. Like,
Thank
you
you.
came in looking like $1,000,000. Looks like you've got something really important to do today. That's the first step. Sometimes we're not even thinking about the way we dress for the day, the way we prepare ourselves mentally for the day, the way that we have organized a schedule that allow freedom to be able to get important things done versus, I've been so busy and I accomplished nothing. Right back to that whole self-management and organization, those skills. I
Right.
went and I recently got I got one of those digital calendars that plug in the home, that will plug in all the kids' schedules, my wife's schedule, my schedule, all the school stuff, all the sports stuff, everything's there, literally, so that now there's no more of, hey, who's going where, who's doing what time's this, how do we do that? And I know we have calendars
Right.
on our phones, but they're never synced up, right?
But it's all in one place now.
It's all in one
It's
place.
all in simplicity.
Oh my
It's
word.
Easy.
It's going to give us hours back, and the repetitive question of, hey, who's doing what, or what time are they going to be there? I mean, think about how frustrating that is for some people, right? I can just tell you personally, give that time back to your family, because you're not having to ask those silly questions and you know where everybody's going.
Right.
So, but those are things that when you are actively engaged, these are skills that are going to be required while AI is coming. And we know the percentages. We know it's going to displace better than 50% of the workforce.
Right.
It could create all kinds of unemployment. You won't be unemployed
Yeah.
if you are developing your soft skills.
So I'm hearing what you're saying.
Yeah.
Leadership and communication.
Yep.
And I'll throw in emotional intelligence as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I think that's something that will never be able to be replaced by our AI.
Yeah.
Probably, who knows what the future will hold. How do you, in a practical way, grow in that. You could be, I'm thinking books, I'm thinking courses, I'm thinking podcasts, I'm thinking trying new experiences that half of it is learning, right? I teach a lot of people with my family. We go out on the water.
Yeah.
And I help train them to learn how to surf behind the boat. It's
Yeah.
really fun, right? But I simply tell them, I was like, hey, I can tell you all the things, but the best teacher's experience.
Yeah, just gotta do it.
Sometimes you need to just go get wet. You need to go try something, skin your knee, go get your hands dirty and learn from experience. So for me, leadership, communication, emotional intelligence takes a level of intellect, but also action behind it.
You got to get in it, do it.
What's the best, most efficient way to do that and implement it into someone's life?
That's a great question. So I'll tell you that for me, I was never someone that I didn't consider myself a great student when I was growing up. I was bored in school. Information went in, went out the other, get the grade you got to get in, get out, and move on to the next grade. I didn't value education because I wasn't brought up in a home that really valued education. And one thing that is consistent, and I've been so fortunate and so blessed over the years, is to be around some very, very successful people. And one thing that is a common thread through all of those individuals is not just the grit or the work ethic. I mean, it's like putting on your shoes. Of course, you got to put on shoes before you go out the door, right? They have that basic work ethic. It's not their intelligence. It's not how smart they are. It's not where they come from. It's not even where they went to school. It's their constant thirst for knowledge. They want to learn more about the situation and prepare themselves for what's around the corner. And there's countless outlets out there. I mean, podcasts and books. You know, I was invited to go to a golf tournament many years ago in Cordillera in Colorado. And I stayed with a 4-star general, General Jack Chain. And I'll never forget this. And I'll never forget waking up at like 4 a.m. I just couldn't sleep. I wake up and I heard someone up, and he's sitting there in his office. It's pitch dark. He's in his office and he's taking a conference call because he's talking with a group overseas. And I'm like, I poke my head in and he waves at me and he goes on mute. And he's like, hey, sit down. You can listen to this. And I listened to him go through this whole conference call. And the guy was like 75 years old. He had, pictures of his experiences in the military, interacting with, Mikhail Gorbachev. This was at the heat of the Cold War, right? And this was like back in the early 80s. And he's pointing to Mikhail Gorbachev. And he's like, I'm telling Mikhail Gorbachev there that we know where your nukes are. You better get them out of here or we're coming after you. He tells me this story and I'm transfixed on, wow, like that's a really tense conversation. And meanwhile, he's got all these books that are surrounding his office and he's got pictures of the presidents he's interacted with and travels all over the world. And I said to him, I said, General, I go, man, you really have some amazing experiences. Is what got you here to this stage of life that you're 70 some years old, you're up taking a conference call at 4 a.m. Because I didn't come from that world. Right. Like I came from the world that you were sleeping, you got up at 5 or 6, you went and you worked all day long, you came home, you were exhausted, but you weren't up that early, constantly adding value at that stage of your life with something to give back. It's like he wasn't done. He said, Ryan, I have all these experiences because I have immersed myself in learning. I just wanted to keep growing. I wanted to keep developing myself so that I could give back.
Right.
And that just hit me. It was just like, wow, okay. So the common thread that I've seen for high achievers is that they value information. They value what they can do with it. And then once they get pieces of it, it almost becomes they can't stop thirsting for more. They want to keep learning about things that they're doing, whether it's self-improvement, right? I always believe in this quote that I read long ago. Bo, you are your most appreciable asset.
Absolutely.
Okay, you are. Not all that information out there. You are. Because that information already exists. Mm-hmm. It's there. It's what you've learned about it and what you're doing with it.
100%.
And that's why, I really encourage, I've gone on such a journey over the last 25 years of self-development and growth, not just in the work we do. It started out with training and sales, and then it moved into team building and building programs and building companies. And those things they're exciting, but you don't get the chance to really get fulfilled till you can turn around and give it back and help other people have those breakouts. This isn't about even you. This isn't about the job you're in right now and what you're doing.
Right.
This is a temporary assignment. What you're learning and how you're growing is what's going to propel you to what's next. And when you can create a culture or a company that embraces that, like that's what we want for people. I want for our staff more than anything is to have those skills so that when they go out and they're working with customers, they are either knocking it out of the park and reaching their goals, or they are doing so well at what they're doing that someone else they offer them a job and say, hey, you know what, come work with us. I mean, that's honestly what we built the company for. Either you grow with us or we grow you to go do something else you're meant to go do. And that's really what the company was founded on.
Yep.
And that's what the company believes now more than ever. Because the people that we've launched, the people that we've seen go on to do the most incredible roles, either with us or for other organizations, that's the real, it's almost like that is the litmus test of how good are you and do you really believe in what you say. If you're going to elevate people, right, with the whole idea that you can elevate the future of where we're going, you have to live that out. Like you got to live that out as an organization. So to answer your question, I would highly encourage. There are so many great podcasts. There are so many great leaders. There's so many examples of sports, economics, cultural, history. And now with AI, all you got to do is literally just look it up.
Yep, completely.
And it gives it to you. And now take a piece of it. So what I always believe too is so important, Bo, it's not just the information, it's what you do with it. So the order of how people typically learn by using their senses. I can hear it, but how many great things do you hear? And you actually then go act on. It sounds good, it makes sense, but that's not a learned behavior. It's not something now I'm just going to adopt.
Right.
It might be something I can repeat, but it's not something that I'm actually living out. So I learned for me the order of how information worked was I can see it, right? Or I can hear it. But for me, how I learned, I have to then write it out. I have to write that down because as I'm writing it down, now it's becoming something that I understand. Then when I write it down, I want to talk about it. Because when I talk about it, it starts to become, I understand it more. And then as I practice it, it starts to become part of who I am.
It's huge.
So I have to see it, I have to hear it, I have to write it, I have to say it. And as I practice it, it becomes who I am.
Love that.
And that's it's a little trick for hopefully helping people move whatever they're stuck on or they're not getting through or they can't get past. All the information's there. But you got to implement those steps for it to actually become part of you to see any kind of change.
Oh, that's amazing. Ryan, thank you so much for sharing. What a deep well you are, and honestly just sharing everything beyond. I mean, I thought we were talking about AI. Here we are talking about someone's life mission here, and a beautiful story with a 4-star general. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure.
That's just, guys, that's just the gold that you get on the Trelevate podcast. Come on. So what a joy. Any last words? I just got to tap in one more time.
You know what? It's just there. Listen, you can get as concerned as you want about statistics. There's no question. I mean, think about how many applications we're getting. Think about the economic news. Think about companies that are laying off or changing the workforce models. It's going to happen. If a car can go down the road without anybody driving it, it's coming.
Something's coming.
Right? So prepare yourself. Don't be a victim. If you know something's coming, get out of the way and get in the way of especially work on the hard skills, work on the soft skills, but work on the ability to go really understand how knowledge works and how it can become applicable to you. I think that's important.
That's amazing. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for sharing the wisdom of the marketplace, AI, all where we're going. I cannot wait for the next time we get to sit down and explore another great area.
Me too, my man. Thanks for having me. Always good to see you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Have an awesome day.
We'll see you guys next episode. Go check all the previous ones. There's more gold in every single episode. Thanks,
Right
guys.
on.